Hey, morning, Liam, Sally, and Brandon. Waiting for a few more people. Ellen, good morning. Okay. Well, Ellen, since you're in Korea, I start with you to see if you have any updates. Ellen, do you have any updates?
Well, I've just been trying to get
Can't
as
hear
much reading
you.
done. Hello? Can you hear me? No?
We can hear you.
Okay. Yes, I've been trying to get as much reading
Sally,
done
do
as
you
possible.
hear Ellen?
Yeah, I hear Alan.
Oh, okay, maybe it's my speaker then.
Hello? No?
Okay,
Hello?
let's see. Okay, can you talk?
Hello? 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 Hello?
Is it my speaker?
I can hear you.
What's wrong with my...
Is it better now? Or no?
Alan, I can hear you, so I think you're fine, but I think Dr.
Hmm.
Chae
Oh yeah,
having
now I hear you.
oh,
Okay,
okay, okay.
Now it works? Okay.
now it works.
Uh, yes. So I've been trying to do as much reading as possible related to Pathomix project. Yeah. I just wanted to confirm I should try to read as many articles related to the keywords related to the Pathomix project. Is that correct? Or should I just try to focus more on sort of the high impact factor articles related to the findings?
So there aren't that many articles. It's
Mm-hmm.
about so it's a niche, and if you don't know if this is article I need to read or not, you can this
Mm-hmm.
is the time to ask. So
Okay.
I
Uh-huh.
explained to you what articles are relevant, what are the top.
Mm-hmm.
The most important thing is, can we use Pathomics AI platform to predict
Mm-hmm.
response to immunotherapy? And I believe
Yes.
papers that address this very key question are very few. Um, so I don't think there would be, confusion as to, which paper to read and not to read. But if you have
Mm-hmm.
those questions, bring it up.
Okay. Currently, not much confusion, but just yeah, I just wanted to kind of reconfirm about like how many I should actually be reading. But
My
okay, I think I.
expectation is there's gonna be less than 10 papers
Mm-hmm.
addressing the key question. There's going to be indirect papers where, oh, can I use Path AI to predict EGFR, predict PDL1? These are indirect biomarker correlations, which is addressed in this paper. So there may
Mm-hmm.
be more papers on that.
Mm-hmm.
But again, those papers I would envision it to be less than 10 for each question. So radiomics people had to review a couple hundred papers easily.
Mm-hmm.
But
Mm-hmm.
Path AI in immuno-oncology field is still new field that there's not much going on.
Okay. Okay. Maybe I would have been looking at it too broadly then. I'll try to kind of refocus the kind of the topics of the
And
article.
because Liam has been working in the field of Path AI with Lunit,
Mm-hmm.
Liam can help be your first screening. Like, is this paper looking appropriate or not? Uh,
Mm-hmm.
the same way Dr. Isol Kim is still involved in this project, so you can ask her questions. Uh,
Okay.
you can email her, CC me in every communication, and text her that you've emailed your question. So yeah.
Okay. All right. I'll
And
try to get.
if
Mhm.
you and you still have questions,
Mhm.
you can text me those questions or ask me during the lab meeting.
Okay. I'll make sure to do that then. And then I also just have the journal article that I can present.
Mm-hmm.
Should I do that now? Okay.
Wait. Uh,
Okay.
journal article. What is the journal article?
It was the article related to the integrative analysis of risk factors for immune-related adverse events of checkpoint blockade therapy in cancer.
That's the Nature
Uh,
Cancer paper, right?
yes.
Okay, yeah. So, stay tuned. I just want to go over the project first, and then we can get back to you.
Okay. All right, then I think that would be about it then
Okay.
from my side. Mhm.
Yeah. So I would emphasize it's a great project, and there's not been a great review on that topic. So, you
Mhm.
know, I think the sooner we get that out, the better. Okay.
Okay, yeah.
Okay. Update from you, Aranus.
Hello, everyone. So this week, I was just collecting my data with Dr. Wu and Dr. Liam and Brendan, and I think Dr. Wu will present the preliminary data. And you asked me in the last meeting that I should find some studies which correlates which answers the question that why sarcomas loves to go to lungs. And I went through like 5 or 6 studies. There are a lot of studies done on the treatments or like the sarcoma types, but I didn't find any answer to the anatomy or physiology that why sarcomas love to go to. And that's it about from my side.
Okay. Yeah. So that tells us that there's people we still don't know why sarcomas like lung. Same way primary lung cancer is like brain. Brain is the most common site of lung cancer metastasis. And that's why lung cancer patients have such a poor prognosis. The mortality rate is number one, and number two and number three combined does not get to lung. So that's why we still have to make a lot of progress here. So understanding why, I just, it's hard to believe there's nothing out there that studies that question. There's got to be some biological question or hint out there. So keep reading. There may be something about so tumor metastasis predilection for certain organs. That's the theme, and it doesn't have to be just sarcoma only. Let's say prostate cancer cells like bone. Why? Does anyone know why? What is the molecular mechanism? So it doesn't have to be specific cancer, specific organ, but if you know there's a clear association between the two, has anyone looked at molecular mechanism? So I'll make the question broader. Okay, so you can let us know later.
Okay, so there was this L-generated thing in Japan. Recently, they did one experience in which they were trying to differentiate. Like there was a bakery, and the bakery people they weren't able to differentiate between the different type of croissants. So they generated this L-generated technology, which can differentiate between the different type of croissants. And now the doctors also are using that to differentiate different type of cells like cancer cells and normal cells. So that study was interesting, and it said that it might show that because like some cell, like you said, prostate loves bone, so it's like the cell morphology or the region are the same, so that's why they might love to going to that place, but it was not like any confirmed, or there was no scientific evidence to that yet.
Yeah. If it's just hypothesis, I don't think we need to review it. But if you find anything really interesting that has really good, solid scientific rationale, you can present that in any next meetings. Okay. Okay. Sally, updates.
So Imagine AI, so we or I Well, here, let me share my screen. I just organized all the TLS data results. And so yeah, so from our last meeting, we decided to so I'm still collecting all the like Tempest Garden, June, Strand, and Signatera results. So right now I'm only looking at the ones that are actually like positive. But I was wondering, do you still want me to look at the ones that are negative? Because I mean, the reports will show that it's just negative. Like report won't show anything, right? Because last time you asked if we can get the gene, like what does the report actually says for these patients? So I collected for just the patients with positives. Is that okay, Dr. Chae, or do you want me to go through all the other patients who are negative?
I think we have to go all the way, all the patients, because I don't know if that negative is coming coming by reviewing all the platforms. I don't know, unless Liam is sure that we reviewed every platform.
I actually found few patients who didn't do any of these testings.
Mm.
So I think there are some patients who did not go through any of these platforms. So, okay, then in that case, we should go through everything, right? Every patient's.
So Garden Reveal and Signatera are only going to say positive and negative for any ctDNA, so you don't need them. Garden Reveal, do you understand what I'm saying? Garden Reveal and Signatera,
Right.
they won't have any mutation information there, so you can erase those columns.
Right. Okay. Because I think Dr. Liam wanted me to still do everything for like future, but I guess, yeah, we don't really need them.
You did for this EGFR and ALK, maybe
Yeah.
for something else. So it's either Tempest or Genestrat, Gardent. And you need a column for PDGX, which is our in-house NGS.
Mm.
Did you look at our in-house? It's under pathology.
Oh, okay. I'll take a look at that too.
Yeah, that's the most important thing, in-house NGS. Because everything else is sent out, but in-house, everyone gets it.
Right. Okay. Okay, so okay, then we will go through all the negative like EGFR and ALK negative patients too. And
Here's what I would say. Tempest and oh, the other thing is Signatera is blood assay, but you have Altera. Altera is tissue assay. Altera. So I think you can put Altera as well in the column instead of Signatera. And Tempest, Altera, and PDGX, which is the in-house NGS, should be listed under tissue NGS, and Garden and Genestrat should be listed under blood NGS.
okay.
And when you say actual EGFR positive, you need a separate column that says tissue positive or blood positive. So and you can so if any of the Tempest, Altera, PDGX is positive, that is tissue positive.
Mhm.
If Gardent or Genestrat's positive, oh, there's actually one more. There's so if you look at Tempest, there's a Tempest liquid and there's Tempest tissue. You have to read the actual report to be able to know whether it's coming from liquid or tissue. So to
Okay.
be exact, you can have tissue tempest and you can have liquid tempest. So there's liquid tempest, Garden 360, and GeneStrat. If any one of those is positive, then you have positive result.
Okay.
So I just told you you need separate column for all separate assays, and then you need two extra column for tissue NGS and blood NGS. And that's for every patient on this on this Excel spreadsheet.
Okay. Okay, then we'll start working on that. But yeah, but with Imagine AI,
What have you found so far from the ones positive?
like what have I found? What do you mean? Like
So the question is, when it said for EGFR positive, was it mostly tissue or blood?
it was majority of them were both Tempest and Garden. So I would say, but I didn't look at whether it was like Tempest tissue or
Can-
Tempest
Can
liquid.
you filter by positive patient? And let's just skim through the data.
Okay, let's start with EGFR. EGFR. Wait, it's not showing.
Oh, what happened?
Wait, I'm not sure what happened. Let's try that again. Sending. Yeah, it's not following. Maybe. I don't know why it's not sorting. Extend and sort. Let's try open. Yeah, these data for some reason is not moving. I will figure this out and maybe show you a little bit later since there's not much time.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not sure why this is not moving. This data is not moving. It should.
Okay, you can figure that out. And so, yeah, show me ones that are positive. What do we see? Is it mostly tissue or both? Or what's the percentage of blood only? And I think, so remind me, in the actual EGFR positive, how many of them were picked up by Imagine AI platform?
Positive 0.
So how many were positive?
There were, I can show you the chart.
Just show me that 2x2 table that you showed
Oh.
us.
It's in the other doc, so second. Taking some time to log in right now.
Okay, maybe you can bring it later if you need time. Do you need more time?
Yeah, there's issues with OneDrive right now. So I will go after whoever goes next.
Okay. Other than Imagine AI, do you have any other updates?
And then EDW and all the undergrads, we're still working on it, and we made the limit to at least 30 patients per week, or we gave them tasks to do at least 30 patients a week. So far, Amy, Grace, and Eileen, they're all working on it, and I think Brendan is also working on it. Yes, for EDW, for
Okay.
screening.
Okay. So so starting from next week, show me whether it's Excel, or the Google Sheet or Google Doc. Show me what's our target, how many we have done, how many we have left, and who's doing how much, and make a bar graph or whatever visualizes who's doing what. I want that, we need to track it visually. So next time, just show us the report. We'll have that weekly report, who's doing what and what do we have left as a team, so we can visualize where we are. And then when you make that, just make that document, share that with all the people who are involved in EDW project as well as myself, so that every week we're updated on. That's what we do with clinical trial. How many, what centers enrolled, how many patients, we have to track it and motivate ourselves, like looking at the actual numbers. And what's our deadline? Like what, when, and so yeah, work with Liam to get that out. For
Okay.
EW, primary screening the with undergrad, and then secondary screening with MDs. So make both documents. Um, okay.
Okay. And then I have the spreadsheet ready. Okay, here's the for do you see
Yeah,
this?
yeah. Can you magnify? The actual EGFR positive, um, Imagine everything was equivocal. Okay. So did they get back to you about their new cutoff or no?
So I need to send them our data, but I had to fill in all the actual, because remember there were some samples that didn't have actual data, so I had to go through all the charts to find that out. But I think we're gonna do, like, I think Dr. Liam, he's gonna go through it again today, and then we'll try to send it out today.
Okay.
I think they're probably waiting for our data.
Okay. Okay. All right, let's move on. Um, are you involved in writing the pacemaker's manuscript? Or is it just Liam?
I am, because I did as an undergrad, but I think we're done with the draft.
Who's going to submit it?
We haven't decided. Dr. Liam, do you know?
I'll probably submit.
Okay. So Sally and Liam, I know Dr. Hesong and Dr. Eugene and everyone made like a Google Doc with the papers they're working on, where it is and where it has been submitted, or if it hasn't been submitted, who's the lead author, who's submitting it. So I want like a lab-wide Google Doc showing where that is, and we should go over that every week. Where is it? Who's submitting it? Why it hasn't been done. We just have to, go through it every week. Otherwise, I feel like it's just getting lost each time. So make a master publication plan for our lab, and Liam, who's involved in what, and get that from the author. And Dr. Hesong and Dr. Eugene O has the template, and they've been updating me on real-time basis. But I think we have many other papers, including the pacemakers. So I feel like we need a strict deadline and know who's submitting and who hasn't done their job, and we just have to go through that weekly basis. So next time you present, just either Sally or Liam should present where things are, the publication lists. Let's just go over them every week. So,
One
okay.
thing about variant classification projects, so yeah, so basically Dr. Uni and my paper is still we submitted, it's still in they're still checking, and we haven't received any updates from them, the journal. And then for Emma and Eileen's, I talked to Eileen last Sunday, and she said she can't, for some reason she can't contact Emma, or she can't get hold of her right now. So I think Emma's really busy. So it's hard, I don't know how we can proceed from now for that project, since Emma's like the first author and she has all I think they're almost done. They just need to do like last little touch-ups. But I don't think she's available now. And then Grace Lee's project. Um I asked Dr. Yoonhee if she's available to work on it, because she was like the priority on she was on the first list, but she said she's not able to. So I was wondering who should be the lead author for that one. And I also wanted, Dr. Allen, if you're interested.
Yeah, so Emma has been coming to lab meeting. I know she's busy now, but I don't think we can tolerate, we cannot reach her, because as long as so it's either you opt out, like I don't want to do this project anymore. I don't have bandwidth. Um, I cannot carry on this project. Then we'll make sure that person is out of the project. But we cannot tolerate, we can't get hold of someone. It's not acceptable in healthcare. Like I can't find my intern. You know, you know, this is equivalent to clinical care, where you have your paper and you cannot just disappear. That is so irresponsible. So I tell people, you cannot just text, you have to call them, call them, you know, during, if that person's busy during work hours, call them after work hours. Make sure you get hold, explain the situation. Are you willing to continue on this project? Otherwise, you have to sign out and give this project to someone else. So I don't believe that someone is, I mean, if someone is hospitalized, I understand. If someone's giving birth, I understand. Uh, but if you cannot be reached within a week, then that person doesn't get back to you, or we be more generous, 28 days. Then the person has to be off the project. Uh, but you cannot say the person's busy. You have to call them at least few times, and try every means, and get hold of that person's friends, whoever is in contact. And that's only when we make sure, when we know that person cannot work on the project anymore. So as a PI, I've gone through so many people who like decided not to pursue the project anymore, and they had their own life stage issues, and I totally understand. But something that I cannot tolerate is, when you don't let us know that, I can work on this, I cannot work on this. You have to be proactive in letting us know what to expect. You cannot just disappear, and try, then us trying to figure out whether that person will be available or not. That's too much burden on our end. You have to be proactive. I'm starting my internship. I'm getting married. I'm doing something. I won't be reached during this time, but I will be available after this time. This is ethics, work ethics. If you are just like, oh, And I've had cases we're trying to get hold of someone and like, oh, that person is usually not reachable. And that's truly unacceptable. I cannot work with interns or residents who's usually not reachable. That's totally unacceptable. So we in this lab operate, at healthcare standard. And you have to be reachable. If you're not, you should be out of the project. And this should not be a burden on our end, like Sally or Liam or Haesung's burden to track down people. It's the otherwise. You have to talk to your manager proactively, updating them real time. So on their end, there is no burden. But in reality, we have so many immature people who we just really have to track down. And it started these start with, oh, even if I am not in Chicago, can I still work together? And then we allow them to work together, and then we can't get a hold of them. Uh, so I just wanted to emphasize that communication is really everything, and it's just really hard to track. So it's work ethics. Wherever you go, whoever you work with, you have to update your peers, your boss, whoever, what your availability is gonna be, what your commitment's gonna be, what to expect, and when's your deadline, and you abide by the deadline. And that's how we know this is a great person to work with. This is a team player. If we don't see that happening, like I don't want to work with this people, this person anymore. So I think we just have to be very respectful of each other, and have high standard of work ethics. So with all that said, still Liam and Sally, you have to track down these people, and let me know. This is not like we want to work with you and we want to help you. It's the opposite. If you want to work with us, you show the work ethics. If you're not, you don't need to be part of the project. This is a privilege we offer. So I just want to make that clear that we are not begging you to, continue the project. We are doing this project so that we can give you opportunity to grow. And for me, I just want to, be fully transparent. All these projects that I do, there's nothing, I feel like I do a lot to just help you guys, give you more opportunity, than me, I don't think there's any project that I'm doing just for my personal gain or personal, or I guess for our lab's prosperity. I don't need any of those. So I just want you to know that, and the all the research opportunities that we create, of course, it's for mutual benefit. And if you don't think you have the bandwidth or passion enough to carry on, you have to tell us in advance, that you are not able to commit, you are busy with other things, and this is not your priority. You have to tell us in advance and not wait for us to, um, you know, kind of wait on your availability and not knowing when. So, okay, enough. Sally, anything else?
Oh, for Grace Lee's project, I was asking if anyone was interested in taking over. Because Dr. Uni is not able to work on that one. So I think we have undergrads who is willing to, but I don't think we have any MDs who's yet.
Okay, so until you find anybody, it's up to you, Sally, to write it up and publish it. Okay? You are full-time here, so if anyone is not willing to be the lead author, then you should be the lead author on this paper, because it's a very similar project, and I don't think, same thing. If Emma is not available, you take on the project, you write it up, you submit it. That's your own project right there.
Okay.
But if you identify someone who's willing and have passion to work on it, then you can sign it out and just be a helper.
Okay. Sounds good. I think that's it.
Okay, very good. Haesung, you have an update?
Yeah, first I wanted to apologize. I thought it was starting at 10 instead of ending at 10. But anyways, I'm here. For darts, I'll just share this screen with you. Yeah, wait. Okay, yeah. So for here, non-epithelial ovarian cancer and EOC, it's still in review. BAC has been rejected by JITC, and so we'll have to choose another journal for this one.
Yeah, one of the authors said, let's go for lung cancer journal. Did we ever discuss that here? Lung cancer journal ever?
Oh, it's just called lung cancer?
No. There are lung cancer journals. So
Oh, oh,
maybe we can try with JTO.
okay.
Well, we tried it. I
Oh, we
forgot.
did, yeah. Oh, we did, yeah.
So JTO, well, see what has the better impact factor. So we'll go with, there's lung cancer, there's clinical lung cancer, there's JTOCRR.
JTOCRR?
RRR. It's a
R,
JTO journal, but they have CRR.
oh, okay.
Yeah, there's clinical lung cancer, there's lung cancer, there's JTOCRR. There are 3 journals. I cannot think. There may be more. Look for one and let me know which one has the highest impact factor, and we'll decide.
Oh, it seems like JTOCRR is 0.923 according to the SJR.
Okay.
That's a measure of, that's like the impact factor, right?
Yeah. What are the other ones?
Yeah, 1 second. Clinical lung cancer is, this is weird. 3.6.
Okay.
And then just lung cancer, right? Lung cancer, 5.7. So this one is the biggest.
5.7.
Yes.
Can you see if there are any other lung cancer journals?
Sorry, 1 sec. There's tobacco control. Yeah, so there's tobacco control, which is 5.2. In this website, it says lung cancer is 4.7. Clinical lung cancer is 4.1. Lung cancer with targets in therapy is 4.1. Everything else is like 3 point whatever.
Oh,
So
yeah.
JTO is 6.0. Right below that is tobacco control, which is 5.2. And then below that is lung cancer.
Okay. So lung cancer targets and therapy. Yeah, this is more, yeah. Targeted therapy journal. But
I'm looking at another website right now and it's not loading. So 1 second.
so lung cancer has higher IF than lung cancer targets and therapy. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay, let's try lung cancer first, then lung cancer targets and therapy, and then clinical lung cancer. Let's just do that.
The order is lung cancer and then clinical lung cancer and then lung cancer targets and therapy.
Oh, let's do it then. Then
Okay.
that way.
Yeah.
So that's the BAC, right?
That's BAC. Thyroid. So Cara did get back to me, but I still couldn't understand, and she didn't exactly reply to all of my questions. So I asked a follow-up. I sent like a follow-up email for more clarifications, and so we'll just wait for that if that's okay. Like she didn't exactly clarify the part. Like she did say like the rare cell types are referring to the cells where the T or like rare cell types are referring to T cells that co-express PD-1 and PD-L1. But then it says how like it has like the features of large cell neighborhood, and I didn't really understand that, and she didn't really clarify that part, so I wasn't sure. Just wanted to clarify on that part and then edit, and then finalize.
So what is your question? Did you ask for her to clarify?
Yeah, I sent a clarification email. Like I asked like 3 more questions.
Okay, so let's wait for that and see her answers and discuss what, what to do with it.
I replied on Friday evening, so we'll still wait for that.
Okay, but otherwise you've done some incorporation of the materials already?
Yes. I just need some clarification. I feel like the readers might want some clarification as well.
Okay, yeah.
And then you said for Clear Cell, you wanted to go over the manuscript together during our
Yeah,
last
yeah.
meeting?
So tell me for Clear Cell, what's new, what you edited, or is this the first that?
I think last time I showed you how so for table 2, I remade it and because Dr. Kurzberg wanted like a, you
Yeah.
know, combined cohort toxicity profile, and so that's what I did. But that's the only change after finalizing it. Like, do you remember seeing this? Like, this is the combined cohort, and the
Yeah.
rest is like individual cohorts with the eye resist. Everything else is the same.
Okay.
Text itself hasn't changed. Besides incorporating the gestational trophoblastic disease, which has recently been published by Dr. Patel.
Okay. Okay.
Clear cell isn't the one you wanted to see because this is already in circulation. So I
Oh,
think I'm so sorry. You wanted to see small cell
ovary. Yeah.
ovarian?
It's ovary. Yeah.
Yeah, so for this one, I again mainly just touched up on the cosmetic stuff, like the toxicity profile, put it in like alphabetical orders for like this one I put it in first because there's like 1 and 1 for grade 3 and 4. But anyways, like everything else, I kind of organized it in alphabetical order and then, just cleaned up the figures. And then the text, you said everything's okay. I did add the key message part because JITC wants this section.
Key message.
So I mentioned the 1 complete response and the 1 unconfirmed partial response.
Uh, I guess people who are reading it for the first time without the total population. So I would say out of
Oh,
5 or something, you have to
or 6.
6.
Yeah.
Yeah, even in the key message, I think you should write that. For the unconfirmed partial response, so when you say unconfirmed, it means the next CT scan did not find it, right? That's
This
people.
one, so it's this one. So PR 81% regression went on to have confirmed immune CR. This is I
Do you
guess
remember why this was?
why?
Why this was unconfirmed? Do you remember? Was it because we had that discussion?
Here, let me check my messages.
Maybe a new lesion or
I think this discussion was maybe clear, and so we never had.
was there?
Hmm.
Because I think reviewers may ask that why it was unconfirmed. So here, the progression-free survival is there, and so I guess the first graph is resist, the second graph is I resist.
Yes.
Yeah. So because it's such such a small number of patient, I think we should in the paper write why this was unconfirmed by regular resist due to, there's definitely a reason that there was progression by regular resist because something happened, right? Why was it? Because the next CT scan was PD. That's probably why it was unconfirmed. Was it PD because of the new lesion, because of the lesion grew, but then it became stable? Like we want to know what exactly happened. So I think you need to explain that in the text. And
Yeah.
for the message of this article, I would just say ICR with overall survival of so.
Oh,
PR is not appealing at all.
one complete response, one immune complete response, like
Mhm.
that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Of ongoing, how many months was that, right? So
Oh yeah, this was
not
this
the
is OS.
OS, but you could look at the PFS.
Um,
Yeah, how long is that bar?
I guess PFS and OS they're the same. Because I only got the OS value, but here it looks like it's the same.
Yeah, then it should be the same. So you don't even have to write OS of, you just write because you said the PFS on the prior sentence.
Mhm.
And you can say over. It's over because it's ongoing, right? So.
Mhm. And then the abstract as well, should I just shorten it to confirmed immune CR?
No, it's okay.
Okay. Yeah, I'll just ask Megan to clarify the reason for like unconfirmed PR.
Yeah, and then reflect that in your manuscript
Yeah.
and once you do, and then the Kurdrag has not reviewed yet, right?
No.
Yeah, so let's finish yeah, let's just add that and then have Kurdrag look at
Yeah.
it.
Sounds good.
But let me know first.
I also sent you vulvar cancer. Did you have a chance to look at that? I also finalized this one.
Oh no, let's look at it now.
Oh, I think I need to add the key messages. Did I add it here? Oh, I did. Okay. So maybe just
Or are
one unconfirmed here as well.
So same thing, let's find out. 'Cause
Okay.
people will ask. And what's also scans are usually done let's say every 2 months.
Mhm.
Mm. Mm. In this, did we do I resist or not?
No.
Was there a reason we didn't do it?
I'm not sure, but I can check.
So the question is, for this case, just like we did for the small cell ovarian, if we do I resist, will there be any change or it will be the exact same result as resist? If I resist is same as resist, we can just say it in the result. When we did I resist, the result did not change. At least the reviewers will know we've tried.
Mm.
If
Do I-
Yeah, if I resist changes this to a longer PFS, then we should describe it exactly the same way we did in the small cell ovarian
Mhm.
and have separate graph for I resist.
And if there's no change, do I mention it in the abstract as well?
Not in the abstract, no.
Oh, okay.
Just somewhere in the result. And somewhere in the methodology that Iris has been, looked at.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm assuming that it didn't change because usually Megan is very good at like including the irises.
I agree.
Yeah, but I will check.
Okay. Key message.
Pretty much the same.
So same thing, out of how many you should put here.
Mm. 16.
How might affect. I just feel like the key message here is asking
Mm,
more like a future
information.
directions than the actual data itself. So now I'm thinking what this study adds is it adds that I don't know what the word limits are,
Mm.
but I don't know what the other papers have done. Like, but what it adds is to me that's more data. This is the new data it generated and then might affect research practice and policy is like now
Mhm.
this
Age
you know
verification.
immunotherapy regimen can be considered as a new option for this rare gynecologic cancer. Uh and then the option the same thing ongoing study for biomarkers.
Mm.
So I think it's more directions that, now based on this data, this new combination immunotherapy can be considered as a novel option. And awaiting further validation in larger studies, and biomarker studies are needed. So it's more direction than actual data. So move the actual data to what it adds. Same thing for the other paper.
So this is desmoid, and at this time, Dr. Kurzrock read over this, and she thought it was okay.
Uh-huh. A desmoid? Okay.
Yeah, because it's the same paper, same journal, JITC, and Dr. Kurzrock read over this, and she thought it was okay. But maybe she didn't carefully read it. I'm not sure.
Yeah, the more I think about it, I think that's better. So desmoid is that submitted already?
It's in circulation.
Okay. It's okay. I mean, I don't think this will be a key factor in deciding whether it will be accepted or not. So
Mm.
it's already in circulation, leave it, it's okay. But for the vulvar and small, so we have time to change that.
Okay.
So it's okay. In the manuscript, what are the updates?
Wait, I have a question. Do I mention the results or no? Like this highlight?
Oh yeah, you can mention it like there, yeah.
Oh, here is some like, oh, okay. Manuscript hasn't really changed, except like just shortening the references to fit the limit.
Oh, okay. And the graphs are same?
Well, just cosmetic changes.
Okay.
No, I know I resist here.
Okay. Yeah, so pretty straightforward. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so that's all I have for Dart. That's all I have for Dart. And then we have the last trial meeting today at 4, as well as the Agenus botensilimab balstilimab, like the PD-1, anti-PD-1, anti-CTLA drug to thyroid cancers. We have that meeting at 1.
One
Yes.
today?
Yes. Are you not able to make it?
What Liam, was that in my calendar?
Yes, it should be.
Okay, I'm not able to make it, so but I don't want to move it again. So Liam and Haesung, you just go ahead. You guys know, just say Dr. Chae has something come up and he can be available for the next meeting, but you guys know the whole idea. This is what we found in the DART. We saw this, nice durable responses in DART core. So just make a short presentation for the DART thyroid, and this is kind of what we are working on. And we are excited that the CTLA-4 PD-1 combo is adding durability in this previously thought of as like cold tumor. but it's, but we believe undifferentiated and anaplastic, all these, they have more TIL infiltration and maybe a better responder. So in this group, we want to work with the best PD-1 CTLA agent in the field, which I believe Agenus has really good agent. Their data is really impressive. So you don't have to talk about their data. They make the drug, right? So we're whole idea is, can we initiate a new trial with you based on these new findings? And that's already written in your previous proposal. So what are the things, we need to do, and, what are, what's the next step? Who do we have to present to? This is more like, who's the key person, and, what do we have to do? And, is it, do you have a portal we need to submit? IIT, what's your mechanism? And we are going to suggest two, whichever is the easiest, the fastest, or whichever the company prefers. Number one is through the SWAC. Just like Haesung, you're working with DART team. We can do it like a DART, SWAC trial, and then the agents would only provide drug. So that's one mechanism. The second mechanism is like Northwestern IIT. Just like we have nevo-EP adenoid cystic carcinoma with Richard. We have nevo metformin trial with BMS Northwestern. So just like a Northwestern trial, but we can have some few sister sites, just like we're doing with last trial. So it'll be same thing as we're doing with last trial. Like NU will be doing it as an investigator initiate trial, and we'll have some sister sites. But we will hold IND, and then the funding to run the trial as well as the drug will come from the pharmaceutical company, Agenus. So there are two mechanisms, and so this is more logistics. Like, are you interested in the concept? If so, what mechanism do you prefer? How do we proceed? How do we submit this formally, and all that? So I don't want to miss this opportunity. And uh our previous NCI DART team member, Dr.
Elad Sharon.
Elad Sharon. He's a faculty at Harvard now, Dana-Farber. So he may be on the call. But he understands everything about DART and the thyroid. So Liam and Haesung, you guys, I'll try to connect if I have time, but I have few other things that I have to do today. Just so I might not be there. So just go ahead without me, and then you can plan a follow-up meeting afterwards if they show enough interest. Okay.
And for this one, is it just going to be for thyroid, or do you want to do multiple cohorts of patients, disease groups?
I think our proposal was just thyroid, right?
Well, I mean, within thyroid, there's anaplastic, there's poorly differentiated, and there's, instead of Hürther, we go by oncocytic carcinoma these days. So those three cohorts.
Yeah. So it's all thyroid, just 3 cohorts. And if they have preference, like, no, we want to see all thyroid, we want to see, medullaries don't respond in my mind. If they want to explore differentiated thyroid, I'm okay with it. There's nothing wrong exploring it, but we go to where the high risk group is. But if they don't like 3 cohort, they just want to do anaplastic, I'm fine with it. We're not dead on the we can talk about it and negotiate.
Mm.
Okay. Anything else, Haesung?
Yeah, I wanted to ask about the the Tempest team. They
Yeah.
asked what our next step would be for World Lung. And I was a bit confused because my understanding was that for ASCO, it would just be mucinous versus non, lipidic versus non. And
Mhm.
then for World Lung, we would do like a sensitivity analysis where we would try to, we would like take out the mixed group from the mucinous group and move it to the non-mucinous group and compare between mucinous and non-mucinous. And same thing with lipidic, like take out the mixed and add it to the non-lipidic and compare with lipidic. And then the third one would be to combine mucinous, lipidic, colloid, and enteric and compare with the others.
Mhm.
And the fourth analysis would be the OS analysis for patients who received immunotherapy with any of these histologies. I thought it was these four.
Yes,
Isn't that correct? Yeah.
that is correct. And depending on the result, is it worth reporting or not? We'll decide which project or all projects should move forward or not. So, and you're right, and you can explain to them that this is what we discussed, and Dr. Chair agreed with this plan. I think what they emailed us back was, I told them, why not look this and that and separate by this and that? Not meaning that each one is separate project itself, but do all of that and show us what it shows, and we will decide on what to combine and what to.
Mhm.
And it's all needed for publication. That was for publication, you need all sort of different kind of subgroup analysis anyway. So I think that was what I meant. So
Okay. But we're just only interested in the OS of patients who received IO. Isn't that correct? Like it's not patients who received mono chemotherapy or mono targeted therapy. We're interested in IO or combined IO, maybe with chemo or others. But anyways, always IO included. Isn't that correct?
yeah, IO included, but I think because Tempest collects all sort of like treatment methods or drugs, so for that, I think we can do all different subgroup analysis, all treatment combined OS, IO OS, chemo OS, targeted therapy OS. We don't know what kind of data they have. So based on what they have, we should just look at everything.
Nice.
But you're right. I'm always more interested in IO OS. But all treatments should be there too.
Okay. And then the time to distant metastasis, I'm confused how and where this came up.
Yeah, so the whole point, because we're linking this to double lung transplant. Oh, by the way, Liam, a question for Dr. Barat and the whole transplant team before I forget. Haesung, maybe you can learn from this too. So we've seen stage 1 lung cancer patient with IPF, both lungs pretty you know uh pretty involved bilaterally IPF. And it looks like the transplant surgery team told them, no, you're not double lung transplant, you're single lung transplant. So I want to understand what their algorithm is, and because we named Dream, like double lung transplant program, and I know Dr. Woo Won-gi has said, yeah, I wonder why he's not here today. See what's going
Commented
on.
around like 10.
He's joining in like 5 minutes, he said.
Oh, okay. So yeah, I need to understand who goes to single lung, who goes to double lung, and what do we do about these patients when we analyze stream? So we did consent her anyway, but she was told she's not double, she's gonna get single. I
Yeah,
don't
so
know if
when
you were
I
aware
spoke
of that.
to
Yeah.
Yeah, so there's two things. So when I spoke with the patient, she was told something similar, but apparently the surgery team told her, um, as of now, like probably single, but maybe double. So I don't know like what kind of uh, discussions went into making that decision or conversation, but double lung is still on the table apparently, just not concrete. So I was under the impression that just kind of was gonna they were gonna go and
Mm,
see what the evaluation says and make a decision then. And then the
mm.
second part, so this was something I discussed with Dr. Barat last week, and I was going to actually fill you in either today or tomorrow in person. But Dr. Barat actually wants to just stick with the double lung terminology, even for our interim analysis paper. And his thought process was that, we can still call it double lung because that was the intention. Like the original intention was to do a double lung transplant, but then like surgical technique and feasibility, they had to adjust and therefore they could not do a double lung. But because the intention was to do the double lung transplant from the beginning, he says he doesn't see any issues still calling it a double lung transplant registry and like keeping the dream title. And just calling it that, and then he'll just explain it in kind of the methodology or like in like the supplemental section and
Oh,
explain that, for certain patients, for example, if they had a pneumonectomy, the intention was a double lung, but technical feasibility only allowed us to do a single lung transplant. So they're still included in the analysis and something along those lines.
I see. I see. I think that explains it. In medical trials, we do intention to treat analysis, and even if
Exactly.
the patient didn't get the initially intended treatment, we still do that way, intention to
Right.
treat. So I think that makes sense. So she should still, whether she gets double lung or single lung, I think she should still be in dream. But
Mhm.
but for you, just learn in her specific case, because we need to learn why they are choosing single over double if they have choice. And in her case, like in her specific case.
Right.
Oh, Dr.
Of
Wu,
course.
we were just talking about you. So Liam, tell him about the case
Yeah.
after the the lab meeting, and maybe
Yes.
we can do some digging. Why? So we had a stage 1 lung cancer patient with IPF who thoracic surgeons told her that she's going to get single lung, not double lung. And I don't know the exact reason. She didn't have pneumonectomy. Her both lung looks similar as far as the IPF involvement. She's in her 40s. So I need to understand like who gets offered single lung, who gets offered double lung. Um, so um, yeah, and then
So while
if there is an algorithm at the institution level, then we want to know. So that's the
so while
question.
I have Okay, so just I'll just share two more updates for kind of
Yeah, yeah.
related to that. So one was Dr. Barat suggested that we expand cohort C, like add more patients, and also subdivide cohort C into like part 1, 2, and 3, because in cohort C we're getting a mix of patients. So we're getting um, non-lung primary cancer patients who've been treated. So that will be group 1. Group 2 would be prior lung cancer patients who've been treated. And part 3 will be current, like active lung cancer patients, but who are undergoing lung transplantation for other other reasons. And he was suggesting that we just separate those 3 different kind of subgroups for analysis purposes because they will be distinct groups. And as he was saying that, he was also saying how the patients should be treated with systemic therapy in these cohort C patients. So if they're like a really early stage cancer patient, they still need some kind of systemic therapy before the transplantation happens because they want to proceed with certainty that the cancer had been adequately treated and to minimize the risk of micrometastases and nodal involvement that might not be getting picked up. And so he had brought up a recent patient, Michael Murphy, I think. So for him, he was saying because he didn't receive any cancer-specific treatment, like systemic treatment that's appropriate for his stage, they cannot rule out the micrometastatic involvement, and to him, that's too high of a risk. So he wants to be more selective and careful in patient selection for the DREAM study, at least in this earlier phase when we need to make sure we're drawing out the best results possible. And just for like patients' safety and ethics and things like that.
Oh, for Murphy, when did he get double lung?
No, we consented him, but he never got surgery. He's the one that came to get ECMO.
He's still on ECMO?
I think so.
Oh.
So he's probably gonna get ruled out because he never received any systemic treatment for his cancer.
I don't understand the logic at all. He has
Yeah, so something we should discuss together, but it was something he was thinking about.
So he has what stage was he?
I have to look him up, but he was early stage.
So early stage, we deliver stage appropriate treatment. Period. We don't give them systemic therapy if it's early stage.
Yeah,
You don't
so
give them systemic just for the purpose of transplant. And we transplant stage 4 lung cancer patients and when they exhaust, systemic therapy options, and while waiting for lung, they are not on any systemic therapy.
Yeah, so I do think it's best that we have a discussion about this with all the PIs potentially. But I think Dr. Broad's kind of logic there was like they at least received systemic therapy and we have them under monitoring. So like I think he was thinking we have good enough track record and to believe that they are not progressing or that they don't have micrometastases. Whereas if these are like earlier stage lung cancer patients who did not receive any like systemic therapy, he's more worried for micrometastases.
Is it kind of neoadjuvant therapy for stage 1B or 2 small cell lung cancer? Is it the mention that he's thinking of?
Along those lines, those were definitely included. But you're just talking more generally about patients having to receive at least some type of stage appropriate therapy before transplant. So he was saying we're not going to transplant like a stage 1 patient without giving them any kind of cancer treatment. Or we shouldn't, to be safe.
And I agree with that. In stage 1, we never give chemo. So stage 1, patient can get wedge resection, patient can get SBRT. But I don't agree with any systemic therapy. So patients should get stage appropriate therapy, period. I don't agree with, we need systemic therapy for early stage because most early stage cancers do not require any systemic therapy.
So he was definitely talking more in terms of like stage appropriate therapy. But I think, he was thinking about these things as we were having this discussion. So definitely more things to hash out.
Yeah, so I just need to be clear. Oh, how do you, Mike, is it Michael Murphy? I'm just pulling his chart.
Yes.
It comes up as deceased,
We might have
right? Patient?
we saw him in the ICU like 2-3 weeks ago.
I mean, he's a thoracic surgery patient. I saw him January 3rd. So he's not stage 4, 1, 2, he's stage 4 bilateral lung disease. He's gotten carbopem, dabrafenib, trametinib. So he's gotten enough systemic therapy. And he passed away. So I don't know if he's the right person you're talking about.
Okay. Yeah, I'll double check. I thought that was the patient who was talking.
Can you find out whether he was actually on a list at, at any given time, or was he just crashed and
I
died?
don't think he, yeah, I don't think he made it to the waiting list.
Okay. He's the one who came from Nevada.
Yeah.
That's too bad. That's what, these patients are really sick. So he was on ECMO. EBUS result was positive for malignancy on 11R and BAL cells. Due to 11R positive for malignancy, patient is not candidate for lung transplant. Patient family was explained that he's not candidate for transplant on decide to withdraw treatment. That's what happened. So I think we have to talk about this. They're doing autopsy. And I believe everyone will have different opinions about Hylar. So BAL is BAL, like it's lung parenchyma showing cancer there. So I'm looking at his path from EBUS. 4R is unsatisfactory. 11R was satisfactory and cancer. 7 was unsatisfactory. And 11L was unsatisfactory. So it's really a clinical decision whether you say the patient is candidate or not. And I respect the decision of transplant pulmonologists and transplant surgeons. But I think looking at the scan, the hilar lymph node could be local extensions, still could be it's still local metastasis. It's not even local. I don't like term metastasis. It's still local involvement. And mediastinal lymph nodes are still saved. I don't like the unsatisfactory, but and I do understand hilar lymph node involvement is higher risk, but for the DREAM protocol, we allowed hilar lymph node involvement. So I just disagree that patient withdrew treatment based on the hilar lymph node positivity. And question for Dr. Barat and the whole team is, do we want to make amendment to DREAM protocol that all hilar lymph node will make patients ineligible for transplant? Because that's what they're doing. And even their tumor board, I don't think they have this consensus yet. So this is really not an issue of systemic therapy. Let's say if that hilar lymph node was not positive, he could have been next. He's lipidic, perfect candidate. He gets new lung, he's gonna live. So that hilar lymph node could be direct extension of the parenchymal disease, just like with Andrea Roth case. So I just don't understand their decision process. So I don't know, Dr. Wu,
I'll
thoughts on hilar lymph node being contraindication for double lung transplant under DREAM? I mean, protocol allows it. We just wrote mediastinal involvement is contraindication. That's how we agreed with Dr. Barat and everyone. But it seems like actual transplant team is saying that, oh, hilar lymph node is positive, withdraw, just turn off the ECMO, patient dies. So I'm just sad to see this happening. Any thoughts, Dr. Wu?
I think I'm not sure, but maybe they wanna lower any kind of possible risk of recurrence, something like that. So as you said, I think HALA positive and one positive is not, ineligible for transplants. So yeah, but I think they want to just find more, conservative and more, have, because this should have good outcomes and we should very carefully select. And if there is a gray area, so then maybe in other institutions, they will maybe extend some, So maybe they want to be more conservative on the process.
Yeah, maybe. Maybe they wanna, this is how it's like a drug development. You wanna get the purest first and get good outcome first. And then once people buy into it, then expand a little bit. Let's allow hilar next time, But if you're that patient and, it's life or death for that patient, this Murphy would have gotten lung by now and lived. And maybe hilar is really like a local thing, and then, it was just lipidic. And this is what Dr. Hesong and I are going to prove. Lipidic has different biology, and it's not going to go to mediastinal lymph node. And going back to our question, Dr. Hesong, what is the probability of lipidic going to distant mets? And what is that time to distant mets as opposed to non-lipidic, if it ever happens? Let's say lipidic going to distant mets outside lung is 5%. Nothing's ever gonna be 0. Okay. So if it ever goes out, then we can argue that time to that distant mets as opposed to non-lipidic is like, 3-year difference there, So we probably have golden opportunity, a window to like transplant them and like prevent that this distant mets from happening now. And in a we need that kind of biology, and then at the transcriptomics level or genomics level, what is so different about them, So we have to really study biology. But at the same time, I just am very disturbed and sad that Murphy was just, and no one ever, I mean, Liam, you are the study coordinator, and we just have to make sure all the team knows when they do bronch, hilar lymph node does not make patient ineligible for DREAM. And I don't know how to educate people. Like, unless Bharat disagrees now and he wants to make it a more clean cohort, which I understand. Like I said, if you want to be more pure, it's it's I understand. But as long as our protocol says we allow, I cannot accept people turning off ECMO just based on hilar lymph node positivity. I just think this is a bad practice. Yeah, because there's a reason that we treat hilar lymph node positivity, in a different way. So I guess in a way, Bharat was saying, well, patient is hilar lymph node positivity. The best way to treat hilar lymph node is adjuvant chemotherapy, right? Radiation, surgery followed by chemo. We could be radical as to like after we do the transplant, we can do adjuvant chemo to clear any because of the hilar lymph node positivity. I think that's really radical, but why not? If patient recovers, the chemo is not gonna affect immune suppression. We're just not gonna do PD-1 adjuvant therapy, but maybe that's what Dr. Bharat was saying. Hilar lymph node that's not treated with but that's going against our protocol. We cannot give adjuvant chemo. It's not even adjuvant because we didn't do the resection yet. Resection has to come, or like I guess the neoadjuvant but it's stage 4. We don't do neoadjuvant for stage 4s. So maybe if this is gonna be our new practice, we wanna do, if hilar lymph node is present, we wanna do systemic therapy, but patient got many systemic therapy already. So I don't think we can make any argument about hilar lymph node requiring systemic therapy in this case. So either we allow it or we drop it. We cannot allow cases like this to happen again. So Liam, keep track of what's happening. You're the study coordinator. For anybody on the list, if they get EBUS, follow that real time. What did they get? If they have hilar lymph node positive, talk to me, talk to Bharat, and make sure Bharat and I come to consensus. I don't want to find out after they, withdraw from ECMO.
Okay. I'll talk with Dr. Bora and again. I'll see if we can set up a time so that we can discuss this together too.
Yeah. And then, Dr. Tommy can be involved because he's the PI as well. We could set up a time where 3 of us can talk about, what do we do about hilar lymph node? What's our consensus and how do we move forward? I think it's worth discussing. Yeah, maybe set up a time for 3 of us. Yeah. Okay, let's do that. Let's go back to Haesung. Sorry about that. It just led to so many other discussions.
No worries. I just have two quick updates. For TAP, Stas and I are working. Uh, short story is I'm trying to learn how to use this workspace thing. But anyways, we're going to use math to assess intratumor heterogeneity in non-small cell lung cancer instead of using PyClone because we can't run PyClone on the workspace.
Hmm.
That's the short story. And we're going to try to aim for ASCO.
Okay. So the workspace you're talking about is that the Tempest workspace?
Yes, it's like the Tempest like workspace where they have a bunch of like their Tempest sponsored, like computing systems. And so we run like PyClone or R, all of that on that system. But I had lots of trouble like extracting information. But like the raw data is there. I just didn't know how to extract it. But Stas, I think he has figured it out, and so I'm trying to get some help. But anyways, yeah, we're trying to use math basically to analyze.
Okay. And did I tell you about this Hemong fellow? Liam, did I tell you about Dr. O.H. or Sally or who? No? You guys, I never told you about her?
I don't think so.
Okay. She is a first year Hemong fellow, and she is really interested in this like statistical analysis. So I'll put her contact information. So Liam and Hesong reach out to her. Her name is Coin O. Her cell phone number is 587. I'm putting in the chat box. 7494. Her email is. So we have two Dr. O's in our Hemong Fellowship first year. I think she's Malaysian, and the other O is Korean.
Are they fellows here?
Yeah, Northwestern.
Who's
So,
the other
pardon?
who's the other O you're talking about?
I don't know his first name,
Oh.
but he's a guy, and Coin is girl, and she loves bioinformatics. She's worked with R, Python, in Broad Institute, MIT, and Harvard. She has extensive background in bioinformatics, and that's what wishes to continue here at Northwestern. And she worked in my clinic, so I told her to connect with people who are working on this tumor heterogeneity and like this project. Uh, so yeah, reach out to her and maybe meet with her, get to know her and what her interest is and how have her be involved in this as much as she wants.
I think the thing is for this, she'll have to like do the onboarding process, and I'm not sure if more than two of us, like even staff was a bit of a stretch. So maybe not with the TAP project, but maybe with something else. Or unless you can like try to expand the group.
Yeah. Well, I guess Haesung, I mean you'll be here till mid-April.
Mhm.
So approach Tempest more like she will be your sort of like successor on the project. So they should be able to train her as well.
Mhm.
Yeah, because you won't have bandwidth to work on this once you start your clinical work. So yeah. So kind of explain her what our project is about and what we're trying to achieve and what her bandwidth is and how much she wants to get involved and all that. So
Mhm.
and Liam, can you have Susie reach out to her and also schedule a meeting with me to discuss the project with me one-on-one in my office?
Sure.
Yeah. But Haesung, you can reach out to her separately, just about the project. And I think she'll be a good addition to our lab.
Yeah, I just have a quick update, just confirmation.
Yeah.
For the transplant project, the graft rejection and PTM project, for that one, I'm only going to look at chronic rejection versus PTM with the focus on like the T cell mechanism. And then remember how we talked with Melissa about like primary graft dysfunction, how that relates to rejection and post-transplant malignancy. I
Yeah.
felt like that was like a completely different like mechanism because it involves like monocyte and neutrophil. And so I'm thinking of like just putting that in like a completely different project. So first T cell, like chronic rejection, PTM, second paper, the monocyte neutrophil primary graft rejection, and how that relates to outcome, something like that. And with that, the focus is one.
Yeah, I think that makes sense. Run it by Dr. Wu if he agrees. I agree. That will be a simple. Okay.
Okay.
You got instant approval.
Great. Thank you.
Okay. But yeah, the lung indication, bilateral lung transplant versus I'm saying lung cancer indication versus non-lung cancer indication, PTM difference definitely need to be looked at, and that's something you can work with Dr. Wu.
Yeah, I worked with him like for this past whole week, and he's gonna show you that. Do you have it with you? He's gonna show you like the survival analysis.
Oh, okay. Before we jump to him, do you have any other update?
No, those are my
Okay.
it goes
Okay.
in time. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Wait. So before we get to Dr. Wu, Monica, do you have any updates? I just wanna.
Mine is going to be short and sweet. So, with the Radiomix project, Dr. Yuri said he will be finishing running the data, and we fixed an appointment with him for tomorrow. He said by the time tomorrow I meet him tomorrow, he'll be ready with all of the datas and the results. I will make sure he gives me both the harmonization and the non-harmonization results. And I've also finished with recording each and every patient's that is in our list. And I just want to show you something. So this is the one which I was working on with him throughout. I didn't know like we had to update on the scanners and everything. So I completed that. This is the main data that I had, which Dr. Yuri is running at this time. There is another, I'm trying to find out why each and every patient has been excluded so that I can request like for the next part, whoever comes, that person will know which DICOM they have to re-request. So I've pretty much figured out a lot. I still have to figure out a few, which I might have to look each and every one on Epic why they have been excluded. But I'm still working on these. Apart from that, regarding the SOP, just give me I don't think I have showed you the SOP for Radiomix. which I have made. I still want you to go. I want to go everything through you before I upload it.
Sure.
So for first, it's the clinical data collection and every details of where and what we can find. So for like MSI Garden, look under media, and if it's a zero, so pretty much walking through each and every steps. How do we request a DICOM, choosing the best DICOM file, segmentation feature extraction, regarding harmonization, and where and how to upload each and every file and where everything can be found, and a few reference. So this is this is how much I have done so far, but I definitely want your feedback and what extra things I can add up to it. For EDW, I don't have much for EDW for now, but just give me a Oh, sorry. Yeah, for the EDW, we do have an SOP, which was made by Unhi, and we're pretty much following this. So for me, it would be from patient 201 to 300, and I believe Arnie is helping, so she will be running data from like going through from 300 to 400. I'll add up here. And then we're going to go finish it up, hopefully 100 patients within 1-2 weeks time. That's all I have from my part.
Okay. Yeah. So when Taeyong and Arunus comes, they can also be part of it. Yeah, and maybe Dr. Wu can not much, but do a little bit. Assign him just a little bit so he understand what the project is about. Yeah. So that not that he has to do it, but like now he knows the process and kind of help just a little bit. Okay. Okay, good job, Monica. Anything else?
No, I think that's all. I will have a meeting with Dr. Yuri tomorrow, so I will have more updates after I see him.
Yeah,
Hopefully,
and that's for the
radio
is
make.
that for ASCO?
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
yeah. Okay.
So I've already mentioned about our deadline for ASCO, which is why he did expedite his process and gave me like he ran the data pretty fast. I think I'll discuss about the method part and everything tomorrow itself while he's there, while I'm there meeting him, and try to finish up with the abstract as soon as I can. That is all.
Great, thank you. All right, Dr. Wu.
Okay, I will share my screen.
And Dr. Chae, while he does that, just a question on what time did you have to leave today?
11.
Okay. And are you available for anything in the afternoon, or are you going to be unavailable entirely?
Unavailable entirely, but I guess that the 1 o'clock meeting is Agenus. Last trial is 4 o'clock. Right? Those are the two ones, right? Oh, and
Yeah, and the 11 o'clock was the picture health one, but you wanted me to just go do that one, so I can do that.
yeah, because you know what I want. I guess.
Yeah. And then, but there was a 12 o'clock Regeneron lunch today.
So let them know not to come today because I'm not in the lab. I send them email, but do you know who they are? Who
It's that team that came last time. I forget his name.
be John or
Oh yeah, I think it's John.
maybe Susie rescheduled. Yeah, make sure he doesn't come today, but I don't know how to get hold of it. What's his last name?
John Galuzzi. Galluzzi.
Okay, I'll just do you have his phone number? Just call him
I-
and make sure he's not coming today. I'll text you his number right now.
Okay. Oh,
I just
actually, yeah, I do have his phone number. So I'll just call him to reschedule.
Yeah, maybe
Okay.
he already did, but just double check because it's 12 o'clock is coming.
Okay.
Okay, Dr. Wu, you can go.
So this is the metastastectomy project. So until today, we have updated about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 types of primary cancer, and there were 5 year survival rates reported, and we are filling up these blanks. And sarcoma, liver, pancreatic, breast cancer will be finishing this week. So maybe we can finalize this table so that can show the final result. In total, the problem is the colorectal is about in most of cases. So there are already many published data. And I think the colorectal pulmonary metastatectomy is not a kind of main focus of this study. We want to just make sure other cell types, how things are working for metastatectomy. So we mostly focus on other cell types and we are extracting data. So if you compare their 5 year survival rate with 95% confidence interval, as you can see, germ cell tumor has a very high survival rate, and others are much similar. And maybe this can show how things are working. So this kind of will be our final result, and the red line is the all total result of the old cell types. So vena, colorectal, germ cell is much better, but melanoma, adrenocortical, head and neck is a little less. But as you can see, adrenocortical and the head and neck interval is very wide because the number is not many. And you gave me the kind of control group for our this patient. So
Yeah.
yeah, I think this is good. And I read this article, and this is about standard care and then patient experiencing oligo progression in breast and lung cancer. And there is SBRT group and another low SBRT group. They compare them. And there were about 50 cases, non-small cell and 50 breast cancers. And this is how things work. But as you can see, in breast cancer, the SBRT didn't seem to have any effect, but in non-small cell lung cancer, the proportion of stable disease has increased, but also there were increase in development of new regions. So this is their report. So they think they chose progression-free survival because there was significant difference in lung cancer. However, when I checked their supplemental data, in overall survival, there was no difference between SBRT and non-SBRT groups. So
Oh,
the
this is lung
three,
cancer?
yeah,
No, wow.
yeah, in overall survival there was no benefit, but in progression-free survival there was benefit. But yes,
Wow.
yeah. So they just didn't want to show overall survival in main articles. So
Wow. This is amazing. I didn't
So
know that overall survival was same. Uh,
yeah,
and then even for PFS, go back. Can you go back to that
yeah.
bar graph?
Mm-hmm. But
Before. Yeah. This one, I understand. Breast really didn't have any benefit,
mm-hmm.
but SBRT group had higher new lesions.
Yeah, yeah. So this is very we don't know why. So
Wow. This is very, I mean, the sample some numbers small, but like
mhm,
trend is, I mean, uh, huh. So this tells us that, I mean, I guess in this case, there were stable, let's say there were bone mets that were stable. There were other things happening,
mhm,
but in metastasectomy, it's not like we're resecting, let's say we do wedge resection of lung, only if that's the site of the disease left, right? We don't do it
mhm.
where there's bone mets is stable. No, so it's a different scenario. So it can't really be a accurate control. I just thought that SBRT, we're trying to do some sort of local control here, but then
Mhm.
in the end, it really didn't help overall survival. Oh well,
Yeah.
yeah.
So approximately there's 3 year survival is 50. So if we put as a control group, then it will be looks like that. So I just added their values here. So yeah, we need to talk about how to make some other control groups. So these are
Yeah.
in progress. So
So
maybe
there's
yeah.
MD Anderson, Dr. Chang, Chang.
Mm-hmm.
MD Anderson did a lot of trials like this, SBRT
Okay.
perspective trials. So
Mm-hmm.
maybe use those SBRT trials, and you can use that as a separate publication like
Yeah.
Barnes, or you can even try to pull their overall survival, as long as they share same SBRT approach.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, you can, if you find more than two,
Mm-hmm.
you can pull that and then have that as SBRT trial overall survival. Um, but uh,
Okay.
but but you have to tell them there were still remaining disease that were stable by systemic therapy versus
Mm-hmm.
these metastatic, you know, data is from there was no other remaining. So just as long as you explain that, I think because we can't find a better control.
Yeah.
But I know MD Anderson Group has few pivotal papers, and that's why even in my clinic, because lung cancer data has been so there was actually overall survival benefit with MD Anderson Group papers, but in this trial I didn't know because yeah, so we were at that Onc Live session and they just showed the PFS benefit on that day.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah, but I know there are more than couple. But so
Okay.
look for those, and if you can pull that overall survival, or PFS, then that would be good. And
Okay.
maybe they are. I don't know. You have the OS, but maybe do something. If you can do something similar for the recurrence-free survival.
Mm. Yeah,
Yeah.
but there are not many, so it
Oh,
will be very too broad, I think. So many papers reported overall survival. We are also collecting progression-free survival data, but it's not very, it is very limited. So we will pull up as long as we get.
okay. I'm
So this will
surprised.
be the kind of final table for this abstract, maybe.
Okay. Yeah, yeah, I like it.
Okay.
So you can prepare this for ASCO. People would be interested to know. I mean, I know we have to write paper, but
Mhm.
this is like a meta-analysis.
Okay. And for So another topic about the PTM. So this is the graph that Dr. Jian published in OPTN data about lung cancer indication patient and non-cancer disease. So we reviewed the data again and we found who got double lung transplant for lung cancer was 16. And we grouped them into 3 groups. So the red line means patients who have no history of cancer.
Hmm.
And the blue line is green line means patient who have any cancer history
Hmm.
among lung transplant recipients. And the
Hmm.
blue line is who got lung transplant because of lung cancer.
Oh, okay.
So this is just preliminary analysis, and within these groups, we will analyze. We will most compare the green and blue lines, and we will find out what kind of pre-transplant malignancy they have experienced.
Hmm.
Because there is no information about staging, it will be limited, but we will try to categorize and find any suitable match chord for the blue lines. Even in here, the blue line and the green line, they have p-value is 0.4, so they have no big difference. So
Hmm.
this will be a guide for the analysis.
Hmm.
So our outcome will be OS and post-transplant malignancy incidence and chronic graft failure, same as that. And we will subgroup the pre-transplant malignancy types. So there can be some lung cancer, maybe there can be some people, we are not sure, we need to check it. And then later we will use propensity score matching so that we can find similar groups. This
Hmm.
is the topic that I'm doing with Hesong.
Hmm.
And for graft failure and post-transplant malignancy for all transplant, we will find out the correlation between like kidney transplant, PTM, graft failure, liver, other things, and we will just summarize that.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
I like.
there is a paper about pre-transplant malignancy and no pre-transplant malignancy based on UNOS data. It was published about 2 years ago.
Hmm.
Well, we will more specify the types and we will add the lung cancer indication groups so that we can add more information.
Hmm.
Yeah, we were able to expand the sample size by saving the cases who had missing clinical variables. Before that, I was too strict and I got rid of all the cases that had missing clinical variables, and that's why I didn't find much. But now we have 16.
Oh, this blue is 16 patients?
Yes.
Yeah, 16.
Oh, that's so few. 16?
Yeah, it's still few. Yeah, but
Oh,
it is one more than
oh I'm
And
uh
those are all BAC or carcinoid. So 2 with carcinoid and 14 with BAC.
oh, okay. Well, carcinoid is lung cancer. Mm. Carcinoid, okay. Hmm. And prior history of cancer, I don't know what the guideline is now. That's kind of our like stage where our cohort C,
yeah,
we
yeah.
allow patients with history of cancer. I don't know what the current guideline is, but every institution is different. Like sometimes they say 3-year history, 5-year history, something like that. But in this database, I think it's important to find out like, how remote is that history and I don't know if there will ever be a data, but
No,
yeah.
not in UNOS.
Or you can ask the UNOS. Is this UNOS data?
Yes.
Yeah, when you say history, or like you can say when you list them, what is your policy? Do you exclude them if they have cancer in recent three? What is their current policy, and how, when you collected these data, like if there's a cancer history, are we safe to assume that they did not have cancer in the recent 3 years or 5 years? What do you say? More like they're, just email them and find that out. Yeah, because I think that's important to write up the paper.
Mhm. Okay.
So this, I think this of itself, is a niche, and it's a good question. So this in itself is a one project, and let's aim for a world lung for this one, because this is more like a lung issue, and it's cancer, post-transplant cancer. So world lung, and we'll aim for like a transplant journal, like or like where Dr. Jian published. So yeah, but whatever we find, I think, our goal is that this is still decent indication, and this is what we expect, what we saw, but but so that's UNOS. What about the international data? Do we have? 'Cause there's two data set.
I was never given access to that. I'm not sure about that one.
Liam, are you aware?
The international. No, I'm not.
So Dr. Jian or Dr. Qisang, you should have access to that data. So if you, Haesung and Dr. Wu, if you go through Dr. Jian's paper, there's two data set. One is UNOS, the other is International Transplant Registry. And she always, worked with both data set. So I don't know.
Yeah, I'll ask her how she get the data, and maybe I can get it and review that.
Yeah, just and then those data should be updated by now, because it's real time updated. So reach out to Dr. Chian. Liam, you can also work with Dr. Chisang, so that both of them have access to the data set, and see what variables available, and ask the same question.
You mean ISHLT data, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I will ask her. Okay.
Yeah. And she explained in her method section, she explained what those data sets are, and but you can kind of read her papers first and reach out to her. Okay. Anything else, Dr. Wu?
No,
Okay, great job. Thank you. Brandon, do you have updates?
Yeah, I just created a short presentation of some of the things you wanted me to look into. I
Sure.
can share the Google Slides in the Zoom chat. Share my screen. So first I just looked into found papers about hepatocellular carcinoma, since it's the most primary, common type of primary liver cancer. And so I found that in a paper, there was one paper that said the most frequent site of HCC recurrence is extrahepatic alone, about 50 to 60% of cases, commonly in lungs and bones, and then combined extrahepatic, intrahepatic 30 to 40, and then intrahepatic is 15 to 40. And currently, the American guidelines recommended post-transplant surveillance for HCC recurrence with chest and abdominal CT scans. However, like optimal timing and duration is like uncertain right now. And something interesting that I found in a paper, it said elevated serum biomarkers, including like AFP levels, have been shown to correlate with HCC recurrence, independent of the timing or location of the reoccurrence. And specifically with the AFP levels, it has been validated to use as a predictor for HCC recurrence, and specifically like greater than or equal to 100 units per liter at the time of reoccurrence have been correlated with worse overall survival. Also, HCC reoccurrence occurs most frequently, about 60% in the first 2 years post-transplant, and this early reoccurrence is a predictive factor of worse prognosis as well.
Good.
And so I looked into other like causes of death after liver transplant as well. And like a lot of papers said the most common of death, like common cause of death, is due to the recurrence of HCC. But then there are also other factors as well. It says that there's like statistically significant higher risk of death due to chronic liver diseases and cirrhosis, as well as like nephritis and nephrotic syndrome. And kidney diseases are responsible for excess deaths due to other like multifactorial causes. As well as like a lot of studies also mention infectious complications remain as a significant contributor to death after a liver transplant as well.
But you didn't find numbers?
Uh, there were like there weren't like I couldn't find any studies with exact numbers, and I tried to find like a table to really show all of this. But then there were just a lot of the studies just mentioned that it wasn't like like it was mostly just like in the introduction. It was just saying like these are could be like a reason for death. But I couldn't find like a specific number or table.
Okay.
And then next slide, the difference of rejection rates between lung transplant and liver transplant. Specifically for lung transplant, for acute rejection rate, it's been reported to be around like 30% in first year post-transplant. And acute rejection is more common in the early post-transplant period. For chronic rejection, which is also known as VOS in the case of lung transplants, is a really big concern apparently. And the prevalence of chronic rejection increases over time, so it could impact long-term outcomes. For liver transplant rejection, acute rejection is less common in liver transplants compared to lung transplants. The reported acute rejection rate for liver transplants are often below 20%, and many cases can be effectively managed with immunosuppressive medications. And for chronic rejection for liver transplant, it's relatively rare compared to lung transplants. However, long-term complications such as like fibrosis or biliary complications may also occur.
So
And then here just
surprising that there's no numbers. I mean, I
yeah,
understand it's rare and it's more common, but we just need that ballpark. And then none of the literature talks about the numbers.
I try to find like papers with like either like a table or numbers, but it was just mostly like citing various studies and like basically cohesively stating in their like introduction mainly like from these studies like I could state like this, but then it cited like more than like 2 or 3 sources. And I try to look deeper into those sources, but they didn't have like a clear table or clear number as well.
Hmm.
But then I wrote some of the numbers that I could find.
Okay. Okay, so now it's time to learn from experts. So I know Dr. Wu has been involved in, doing lung transplant surgery before. So I'm gonna ask Dr. Wu to, in next week or two, it's not urgent, but for all our lab members, including myself, to learn how, important is the rejection issue in transplant patient, and what is unique about lung transplant versus other solid organ, liver or kidney, more common, and why is lung more susceptible to acute rejection as well as chronic rejection, and the organ lifetime is shorter because of it. And then lung, I understand there's pneumonia, so your risk of infection is higher. And if so, how much higher? Uh, uh, um, so, so, I guess, if you get transplant, how long is it going to last? What is expectation from lung, liver, kidney, and what are the risk of acute and chronic rejection, and what is the rationale that it's just such a short-lived. So I think the reason why we're interested in this topic is most people will say, well, the lung, if you get transplant, pneumonectomy, you're only gonna live like 5 years. But then your organ will last about like 5 years because, in non-lung cancer cases, because of infection and rejection, which is much higher than other organs, that's what you expect from non-lung cancer cases to begin with. So you're not sort of, saying, because this is all about ethics, like, if this lung went to let's say COPD lung patient, then the patient could have used the lung for 20 years. Now, because you die of lung cancer that recurs in 5 years, then, we're not allocating resources in a more ethical way. But that's why I think we have to have really good knowledge about what is the norm, most common thing, a trend. So with all that pressing, I guess, understanding the needs, maybe like 5 to 10 minute presentation. Dr. Wu, you can present and educate us about the current paradigm of lung transplant in terms of the organ life, risk of rejection, acute versus chronic, lung versus non-lung. You don't have to talk about how do we manage that. That's too deep, but just the overall view. I'm sure there will be a lot of review papers on that. So maybe educate us on that. And then that of everything you find that could really be used for your discussion section of these papers, where lung cancer, one might argue that and then you can cite all these papers, and so this will all be for your benefit when you write your discussion section, lung versus non-lung cancer transplant issues. So yeah, and, a week or two, and then Brandon, you can learn from him. But yeah, but I think at your level, yeah, I think you did great job looking at the literature. I think this is a great topic. Okay, anything else, Brandon?
Just quick updates. EDW project, I'm going to start working on that. I got like the main spreadsheet on the OneDrive earlier this morning, like which one it is, and then I'm going to meet with Sally after this to discuss more about Imagine AI project.
Sounds good. And did we allow you to work remotely on Epic? Okay.
Yes, I was just waiting on Will to get because there's a lot of spreadsheets on the EDW like
Mm.
H drive, I couldn't figure out which one it is, but then I've been like contacting Will, but he said he would go into the lab, but then I haven't really heard back from him since like last week. But
I can help you with that too after lab meeting.
Okay. About the journal club, what do we have that we need to present? I know Ellen had one. I think he has to do it next week. Sally, do you have one? Or Liam? I know Liam has one. Haesung, do you have one to present? No? Okay. No one has any other journals that I gave you? Okay. So maybe it's just Ellen and Liam. Okay. So we'll do that next week because I have to go. Any other questions before we wrap up? Okay. Very good. We'll talk to you guys later.
Good day.
Bye.